The Vanishing Truth. The grand halls of the Galactic Council were cold and silent, filled with shadows that seemed to whisper secrets. High above, massive screens broadcasted the latest news, the voice of the anchor echoing through the marble chambers. This just in, historians confirm that no species named human has ever existed in our galaxy's history. It is a myth, a story without any proof. Councillor Fellows watched the broadcast from his high seat, his sharp eyes gleaming with satisfaction. He knew it was a lie. Humans were real, once powerful and brilliant. But now, they were nothing more than a distant memory, erased by his own hands. It had taken years of careful planning. Every book, every record, and every trace of humanity had been removed from the Galactic Archive. Their worlds were destroyed, their technology seized, and their name forgotten. Fellows turned away from the screen, his long robes flowing behind him as he walked through the dim corridors. No one will remember them, he whispered to himself, his voice cold. They are nothing but dust now. But far from the Council's reach, on a desolate planet covered in ash and ruins, a young archaeologist named Lyra was busy digging through ancient rubble. Her hands were dirty, her face smeared with dust, but her eyes sparkled with curiosity. She brushed the dirt off a metal plate, her heart skipping a beat as she saw strange symbols carved into its surface. They were faded and old, but she could make out the letters. H, U, M, A, N. What is this? Lyra whispered, tracing the letters with her fingers. She had never seen such writing before. It didn't match any known language in the galaxy. Excited, she pulled out her datapad and scanned the plate, waiting for a translation. The screen blinked, then showed an error. Language not recognized. Lyra's eyes widened. How could that be? The Galactic Archive recognized every language ever spoken. This was impossible. Unseen by Lyra, high above in orbit, a surveillance satellite locked onto her location. Its cameras zoomed in, watching her every move. Inside a dark control room, a shadowy figure stared at the screen, its yellow eyes unblinking. Target has found an artifact. The figure spoke into a communicator, its voice cold and metallic. Initiate protocol. Silence. The message traveled across space, reaching the Galactic Council's homeworld. It beeped on Thalos' wrist communicator. He glanced at the message, his face tightening. No loose ends, Fellows murmured, his eyes darkening. Eraser, just like we erased them. Back on the dusty planet, Lyra was still staring at the metal plate, her mind racing. She didn't know what she had found, but she felt it was important. It was as if the plate was calling to her, begging her to remember. What are you? She whispered, her fingers trembling. And who are you? In that moment, Lyra made a choice. She would find out the truth behind this mysterious word, human. But she didn't know that by doing so, she had just made herself a target of the most powerful force in the galaxy. The hunt had begun. Lyra packed the ancient metal plate carefully into her bag, her hands still shaking with excitement. She couldn't wait to analyze it back at her lab. As she stood up, dusting off her clothes, a cold breeze swept through the ruins, whispering through the crumbling walls. It sounded almost like a voice, a warning. She shivered, glancing around the desolate landscape. The sky above was dark and gray, heavy clouds swirling like a brewing storm. Nothing moved, not even a bird. It was as if the entire planet was holding its breath. Lyra pushed the eerie feeling aside and began her climb up the rocky slope, her boots crunching against the loose gravel. She didn't notice the small black drone hovering high above, its lens zooming in on her, recording every step. In the shadows of a distant canyon, a squad of silent figures watched the feed on their helmets. Clad in dark armor that blended with the rocky terrain, their faces were hidden behind emotionless masks. One of them tapped a control on his wrist. Target acquired. He spoke in a low, mechanical voice, engaging pursuit. They moved as one, their footsteps soundless as they began their hunt. Unaware of the danger closing in, Lyra reached her small ship, the Starlight Seeker, parked among the ancient ruins. It was old and rusty, a relic from another age, but it was hers. She climbed inside, placing the metal plate on the co-pilot's seat. She ran her fingers over the letters once more. Human. A strange feeling stirred inside her, a sense of déjà vu, as if she had seen this word before, somewhere deep in her memories. Shaking her head, Lyra powered up the ship's systems. The engine roared to life, its blue thrusters lighting up the dark landscape. She didn't notice the shadows moving closer, circling the ruins like wolves. Inside the cockpit, she activated the ship's scanner, running another analysis on the metal plate. The screen blinked and then displayed a single line of text. Origin: unknown. Age: over 10,000 years. Lyra's eyes widened. 10,000. That's impossible. No civilization existed back then. At least, none that we know of. Her heart raced as she tried to connect the pieces. Who were these humans? How could they have existed before recorded history? And why was every trace of them erased? A loud beep interrupted her thoughts. Her radar flashed red. Multiple signals. Moving fast. What the? Lyra's fingers danced over the controls, zooming in on the source. Her eyes went wide with fear. 3 black ships, sleek and deadly, were closing in at high speed. No identification, no communication, just silent, cold hunters. Lyra's instincts screamed at her. She slammed the controls, activating the thrusters. The Starlight Seeker shot into the sky, engines roaring as she raced toward orbit. The pursuers followed without hesitation, their weapons charging. Beams of red energy sliced through the clouds, barely missing her ship. Who are they? Why are they attacking me? Lyra's mind raced as she dodged another volley. It was as if they didn't want her to leave, or maybe they didn't want her to leave with the metal plate. She glanced at the artifact on the seat beside her, its strange letters glowing faintly. Was this why they were after her? Because of this ancient piece of metal? She tightened her grip on the controls, determination hardening her gaze. Whatever secrets it held, they were willing to kill to keep them buried. Well, I'm not giving up that easily, she growled, her eyes fierce. The enemy ships closed in, weapons blazing. Lyra's ship shook violently, alarms blaring as her shields took a direct hit. Sparks flew from the control panels, smoke filling the cockpit. But she refused to surrender. Spinning the ship into a barrel roll, she dove into a narrow canyon, the rocky walls rushing past her at dizzying speed. The enemy pilots hesitated, but then followed, relentless and cold. Lyra gritted her teeth, weaving through the canyon with skill and precision. One wrong move, and she'd be nothing but debris. But she couldn't stop now. She needed to escape. She needed to find out the truth. Above her, the dark clouds rumbled, lightning flashing across the sky. It looked like the heavens themselves were angry. And maybe they were. Because Lyra had just awakened a secret that was never meant to be found. And the galaxy would do anything to keep it hidden. The Starlight Seeker burst out of the canyon at full speed, its thrusters blazing as Lyra punched in the coordinates for the nearest jump point. The enemy ships were right behind her, their weapons firing relentlessly. Red beams scorched the sky, narrowly missing her hull. Sweat dripped down her forehead as she dodged another volley. Her ship shook violently, alarms screaming in her ears. Her shields were failing. One more hit, and she'd be done for. But she couldn't stop now. She had to escape. She had to find out the truth. The ancient metal plate lay on the seat beside her, its strange letters glowing softly. Human. That one word echoed in her mind, stirring memories she couldn't quite grasp. Why did it feel so familiar? Her radar beeped urgently. More signals. 5 ships, approaching fast. They were surrounding her. Lyra's heart sank. It was a trap. They had been waiting for her. She gritted her teeth, her hands trembling on the controls. Who are they? And why are they so desperate to kill me? She didn't have time to find out. A bright flash lit up the sky as the lead enemy ship fired a massive energy blast. It tore through the air, heading straight for her. Lyra yanked the controls, narrowly avoiding the blast. Her ship spun out of control, alarms blaring as the engine sputtered. She struggled to stabilize, her vision swimming as the G-forces threatened to knock her out. But she couldn't give up. Not yet. Her fingers danced over the controls, rerouting power to the engines. The Starlight Seeker shuddered, its thrusters roaring as she sped toward the jump point. It was her only chance, if she could just make it there. The enemy ships closed in, surrounding her on all sides. Their weapons charged, red energy crackling ominously. Lyra's eyes widened as she realized they were aiming for her engines. They didn't want to destroy her. They wanted to capture her. A cold chill ran down her spine. Why? What did they want from her? Her gaze shifted to the metal plate, its letters glowing brighter than before. A sense of dread washed over her. It wasn't her they were after. It was this. The word human pulsed with an eerie light, as if responding to her fear. Lyra's mind raced. Why was this ancient artifact so important? Why were they willing to kill to keep it hidden? And what did it have to do with the word human? She didn't have time to find the answers. Her ship shuddered as a blast hit her left engine. Warning lights flashed as the thruster sputtered, flames bursting from the hull. No, no, Lyra screamed, fighting to keep control. Her ship spiraled downward, smoke trailing behind, as she plunged toward the surface. The enemy ships followed, surrounding her like vultures circling a dying prey. She could almost feel their cold, emotionless eyes watching her, waiting for her to fall. But Lyra wasn't ready to give up. Not yet. With a roar of determination, she pulled up, forcing the damaged ship to level out. Her eyes locked on the jump point ahead, a swirling vortex of blue energy. It was her only way out. She pushed the engines to their limit, ignoring the warning lights and the smoke filling the cockpit. The Starlight Seeker groaned under the strain, its frame rattling as she accelerated. The enemy ships moved to intercept, their weapons charging. Lyra's fingers flew over the controls, activating her last line of defense. A burst of electromagnetic energy erupted from her ship, scrambling the enemy sensors. Their ships faltered, momentarily blinded. It was the opening she needed. Lyra screamed as she pushed the thrusters to full power, rocketing toward the jump point. The blue vortex loomed before her, swirling with energy. It was now or never. She closed her eyes, gripping the controls tightly as she entered the jump point. A blinding light enveloped her, the world spinning around her as she was pulled into the wormhole. And then, silence. The Starlight Seeker emerged on the other side, floating in the vast emptiness of space. The enemy ships were gone. She had escaped. But she knew it wasn't over. She glanced at the metal plate, its letters still glowing softly. Human. Whatever this artifact was, it held the key to a secret the galaxy didn't want her to find. A secret worth killing for. And Lyra was determined to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. Lyra drifted through the empty void, her ship damaged but still holding together. The jump had bought her some time, but she knew the enemy wouldn't give up that easily. Whoever they were relentless. She looked at the metal plate resting on her dashboard. The word human glowed faintly, pulsing with an otherworldly light. It felt ancient, powerful. But why? What was so important about this word? Lyra's head throbbed with questions. She knew she was missing something. Something big. If only she could remember. Her ship's computer beeped, breaking her thoughts. She glanced at the screen. There was a signal nearby, an old encrypted frequency. It was faint, almost like a whisper. Curiosity gnawed at her. Could it be connected to the artifact? Was someone trying to reach her? Or was it another trap? She didn't have much choice. Her ship was damaged, her fuel was low, and she needed answers. Setting her course, Lyra followed the signal to a nearby moon, its surface barren and covered in ancient ruins. The Starlight Seeker touched down with a rough jolt. Lyra powered down the engines, her hands trembling. There was a chill in the air, a sense of foreboding. Stepping out of her ship, she felt the weight of the silence around her. The ruins loomed like ghosts, broken and forgotten. It was clear they were once grand structures, but now they were just shadows of a lost civilization. As she walked through the crumbling arches, the signal grew stronger, guiding her deeper into the ruins. Her heart raced with anticipation. What was she about to find? She reached a massive doorway, its entrance guarded by towering statues. Their faces were worn by time, but their eyes seemed to watch her, their expressions solemn and sad. Lyra swallowed her fear and stepped inside. The air was cold, heavy with dust and echoes of the past. The chamber was vast, its walls covered in strange symbols that glowed faintly in the darkness. Her gaze fell on a pedestal at the center, where another metal plate rested. It was similar to the one she found, but larger and more ornate, and just like before, the word human was carved into its surface. But this time, there was more. Lines of text surrounded the word, written in the same ancient script. The letters glowed softly, pulsing with a rhythm that matched her heartbeat. Lyra approached cautiously, her fingers brushing over the carved symbols. As her touch met the cold metal, the room trembled. Lights flickered to life, illuminating the chamber with a golden glow. A hologram appeared above the pedestal, its form hazy and distorted. It was humanoid, tall and slender, its face hidden behind a mask of light. Its voice echoed through the chamber, soft and mournful. They erased us, erased our history, our existence. We were forgotten, by design. Lyra's heart skipped a beat. The voice was ancient, filled with pain and loss. It sounded human. The hologram continued, its figure flickering with static. They feared us, feared our knowledge, our power. So they rewrote the past, erased our name, our legacy. Lyra's eyes widened. The pieces were starting to fit together. Humanity hadn't disappeared. They were erased, wiped from history, from memory. But why? Who would do such a thing? The hologram's light dimmed, its voice growing faint. We hid our truth, in the stars, waiting for one who remembers. Lyra's pulse quickened. Was that her? Was she the one meant to find this? To uncover the truth? The hologram flickered once more before fading into darkness, its final words echoing through the chamber. Restore us. Bring back our name. Human. The room fell silent, the lights dimming until only the faint glow of the metal plate remained. Lyra stood frozen, her mind racing with questions. Humanity hadn't just been forgotten. They were erased from history, their legacy buried by those who feared them. But why? And who were they? Her fingers tightened around the artifact. Whatever the truth was, it was powerful enough to rewrite history and dangerous enough to kill for. She knew now that her journey was far from over. She had uncovered the secret, but she was still missing the full truth. And those who wanted it hidden were still out there, hunting her. Lyra turned back to her ship, her determination stronger than ever. If they wanted to bury the truth, they'd have to bury her first. She would bring humanity's legacy back to the stars, no matter the cost. Lyra's ship soared through the darkness of space, her mind reeling from what she had discovered. Humanity hadn't vanished. They were erased from history, their existence deliberately hidden. But who would do such a thing? And why? As she stared at the metal plate in her hands, its ancient symbols glowing faintly, her ship's alarm blared. She looked up, her heart dropping. 3 warships had appeared on her radar, surrounding her on all sides. They were sleek, black vessels, their designs sharp and menacing. Lyra's fingers danced over her controls, readying her shields and weapons. But before she could act, a voice crackled through her comms, cold and commanding. Pilot of the Starlight Seeker, surrender the artifact. You are in possession of forbidden history. Non-compliance will result in your immediate destruction. Lyra's eyes narrowed. Forbidden history. They knew what she had found. They knew the truth. Her hands tightened on the controls as anger surged through her. These were the ones who erased humanity, who rewrote history and buried the past. They were the ones hunting her. Taking a deep breath, Lyra opened her comms, her voice steady. "Who are you? Why did you erase humanity?" There was a pause before the voice responded, its tone cold and indifferent. "We are the Veil Collective, guardians of order and truth." Humanity was a threat to the galaxy, chaotic, unpredictable, powerful. They defied the natural order, so they were erased. Lyra's blood ran cold. The Veil Collective. She had heard rumors about them. A shadowy organization that controlled information, shaping history to maintain peace and order. But she never believed they were real. Until now. She gritted her teeth, her anger boiling over. You rewrote history to control the galaxy. You erased an entire race just because you were afraid of them. The voice remained calm, emotionless. Humanity was dangerous. They had the power to reshape the stars, to challenge the natural order. Their existence threatened stability. For the good of all, they were erased, their legacy hidden. Lyra's hands trembled. The pieces were falling into place. Humanity wasn't destroyed. They were erased, their memory wiped from the galaxy's history, and the Veil Collective had done it to maintain control. Her eyes burned with fury. These monsters didn't just destroy a civilization. They destroyed its legacy, its identity. They turned humanity into a myth, a forgotten shadow. The voice broke through her thoughts. This knowledge is forbidden. Surrender the artifact, and your death will be quick. Lyra's eyes hardened. She would not let humanity be forgotten. She would not let their legacy be erased. Her fingers flew over her controls, powering up her weapons and shields. If you want it, come and take it. The enemy ships opened fire, beams of energy slicing through the void. Lyra's ship shuddered as she weaved through the barrage, her instincts sharp and focused. She fired back, her cannons blazing with fury. Explosions erupted around her as she danced through the enemy formation, her movements swift and precise. But the Veil Collective was prepared. Their ships moved in perfect unison, cutting off her escape routes. They were coordinated, efficient, and deadly. Lyra's ship shook violently as enemy fire tore through her shields. Alarms blared, warning her of critical damage. She gritted her teeth, refusing to give up. She had come too far. She had uncovered the truth, learned humanity's fate. She couldn't let it end here. As her ship took another hit, an idea sparked in her mind. She glanced at the artifact, its glow flickering with ancient power. If humanity was erased by the Veil Collective, then maybe the artifact could be the key to fighting back. It was a piece of forbidden history, a fragment of a lost civilization. Maybe it held more than just memories. Maybe it held power. Lyra's eyes gleamed with determination. She had nothing left to lose. Her fingers danced over the controls, channeling the ship's energy into the artifact. The metal plate began to glow brighter, its symbols pulsing with ancient light. The enemy ships surrounded her, their weapons aimed and ready. The voice crackled through her comms once more, cold and final. You cannot escape. Surrender and be erased. Lyra's lips curled into a defiant smile. Humanity was erased once. Never again. She activated the artifact. A blinding burst of light erupted from her ship, sweeping across the void. The symbols on the metal plate glowed fiercely, resonating with a power beyond time. The enemy ships were caught in the wave, their systems shorting out as the energy washed over them. Sparks flew as their controls malfunctioned, their weapons falling silent. Lyra seized the opportunity, powering up her engines and blasting through the enemy formation. The Starlight Seeker roared with newfound strength, breaking free from the trap. As she escaped the ambush, she looked back at the artifact, its light dimming but still pulsing with ancient power. It wasn't just a relic, it was a weapon, a piece of humanity's lost legacy. Her heart raced with hope. Humanity wasn't just erased, they left behind a way to fight back, a way to reclaim their place in the stars. The Veil Collective had tried to bury the past, to control history, but they failed to destroy humanity's spirit. And now, they would pay the price. Lyra set her course, her resolve unbreakable. She would bring the truth back to the galaxy. She would make them remember. Humanity was forgotten, but not defeated. Lyra's ship sped through the vast expanse of space, her mind racing with the revelations she had uncovered. The Veil Collective had erased humanity, rewriting history to control the galaxy. But they couldn't erase everything. They missed one piece, a fragment of truth. The artifact rested on her control panel, its ancient symbols faintly glowing. It was more than just a relic. It was a message from the past, a key to humanity's forgotten legacy. But she needed answers. Who created the artifact? How did it survive the Veil Collective's purge? And most importantly, how could it help her fight back? A signal blinked on her radar. She had arrived. Before her lay an ancient, desolate planet, its surface scared and broken. It was known as Corius 9, a world long abandoned and feared, a place shrouded in mystery. According to her research, this planet was once a thriving human colony, a center of knowledge and power. But now, it was nothing more than a graveyard, its history erased, its people forgotten. Lyra's heart tightened as she descended through the planet's shattered atmosphere. If there were any answers left, they were here, buried beneath the ruins of a lost civilization. Her ship touched down on a cracked, barren surface, dust swirling in the thin air. The silence was deafening, the weight of forgotten history pressing down on her. She stepped out, the ancient artifact clutched tightly in her hands. The symbols glowed brighter, reacting to the world around them. It was guiding her, pulling her towards something hidden beneath the ruins. Following its glow, Lyra navigated through the crumbling remains of buildings and shattered monuments. The once great city lay in ruins, its walls broken, its towers collapsed. Yet, traces of its former glory lingered, hints of a civilization that was advanced and powerful. The artifact's light grew stronger as she approached a massive structure, half buried in the dust. It was a temple, its walls etched with the same ancient symbols as the artifact. Lyra's breath caught. This was it, the place where humanity's legacy was hidden. The Veil Collective tried to erase them, but they couldn't destroy this. She entered the temple, her footsteps echoing through the dark corridors. The air was heavy, charged with a strange energy that made her skin tingle. The walls were covered in carvings, scenes of battles and triumphs, of worlds shaped in stars commanded. At the end of the corridor, she found a vast chamber, its ceiling arched and majestic. In the center stood a pedestal, ancient and worn, its surface engraved with intricate symbols. The artifact pulsed with light, its glow synchronizing with the pedestal. Lyra stepped forward, her heart pounding. She placed the artifact on the pedestal, its symbols aligning with the carvings. A deep hum echoed through the chamber, the air vibrating with power. The symbols on the walls lit up, cascading in a wave of light. The temple came alive, energy swirling around her. Lyra shielded her eyes as a holographic figure appeared before her, its form shimmering and majestic. It was a human, dressed in ancient robes, their eyes wise and knowing. The figure spoke, its voice echoing through the chamber. "If you have found this, then humanity's legacy is not lost. We knew they would come for us. The Veil Collective, the shadows who feared our power. They erased us from history, but they could not erase our spirit." Lyra's eyes widened, her heart racing. This was a message from the past, a recording left behind by those who knew their fate. The figure continued, its voice strong and defiant. "We were builders of worlds, shapers of stars. They feared us because we were free, because we would not bend. So they rewrote history, turned us into myths. But we left behind our knowledge, our strength. And you are the key to awakening it." The temple trembled, light flowing from the walls into the artifact. The symbols glowed fiercely, their energy resonating with the chamber. Lyra felt the power surging around her, ancient and vast. The figure's gaze locked onto hers, its eyes burning with hope. Take our legacy. Reclaim our place among the stars. Let them know humanity was never defeated. The light intensified, filling the chamber with a blinding glow. Lyra felt the power flowing into her, knowledge and strength from a forgotten age. The weight of history settled on her shoulders, a destiny she could no longer deny. The hologram began to fade, its final words echoing through the chamber. Awaken the stars. Remember who you are. Bring them justice, and make them remember. The light vanished, the temple falling silent once more. But the artifact remained, its glow steady and powerful. It wasn't just a relic, it was a beacon, a symbol of humanity's undying spirit. Lyra's fists clenched, her resolve solidifying. The Veil Collective had erased them, turned them into shadows, but they failed to destroy their legacy. Humanity was powerful. Humanity was free. And now, humanity was returning. She picked up the artifact, its light pulsing in her hands. She would carry their memory, their strength. She would bring justice to those who erased them. Turning back towards her ship, Lyra felt a surge of hope. She was no longer just a wanderer, a seeker of truth. She was the heir to a lost legacy, a spark of humanity's rebirth. The Veil Collective tried to erase them from memory, but she would make sure the galaxy never forgot. Humanity was gone, but not defeated, and their return was just beginning. Lyra's ship rocketed through the void, the ancient artifact glowing brightly in her grasp. She could feel its power, the echoes of humanity's forgotten past vibrating through her very bones. It was more than just a relic. It was a weapon, a symbol of hope, a call to rise again. The Veil Collective thought they had erased humanity, rewriting history to bend the galaxy to their will. But they missed one truth. You cannot destroy an idea, a spirit that refuses to die. A message flashed on her console, a distress signal from the Resistance, the last remnants of those who remembered humanity's legacy. They were under attack, their stronghold crumbling under the Collective's assault. Lyra's eyes narrowed. They would not fall. Not today. She set her course, the ship's engines roaring as she accelerated to light speed. The artifact pulsed in her hands, its ancient symbols shining with purpose. It was guiding her, its power awakening with each passing moment. The stars blurred, and then she arrived. Before her, a fierce battle raged. The Resistance was outnumbered, their ships battered and breaking. The Veil Collective's fleet was overwhelming, their dark warships surrounding the stronghold like vultures. Lyra's jaw tightened. She wouldn't let them win. Her ship plunged into the battle, her cannons blazing. She weaved through enemy fire, her movements swift and precise. But it wasn't enough. The Collective's forces were too many, too powerful. She needed more. She needed the power of the artifact. Taking a deep breath, Lyra placed the glowing relic into her ship's core. The symbols aligned, their energy flowing into the systems. The ship shuddered, its engines roaring with newfound strength. A surge of power burst through the ship, ancient and unstoppable. The hull glowed with light, the symbols spreading across the metal, merging with the technology. Her weapons charged with energy, their blasts ripping through enemy ships with ease. Lyra's heart raced. This was humanity's power, a legacy of strength and defiance. The Veil Collective feared it, tried to erase it. But now it was unleashed. Her ship became a force of nature, a beacon of light cutting through the darkness. She tore through the enemy fleet, her cannons firing with the fury of forgotten ages. The Resistance rallied behind her, their hope renewed by her presence. The Collective's forces began to falter, their formation breaking. They were panicking, unprepared for the power they thought they had destroyed. Lyra pushed forward, her eyes locked on the enemy flagship, a massive dreadnought, its dark hull radiating control and fear. It was the heart of the enemy fleet, the symbol of the Collective's dominance. She wouldn't let it stand. Her ship charged, light swirling around her as the artifact's power reached its peak. The dreadnought's weapons fired, beams of energy cutting through space, but they shattered against her shields, the ancient power protecting her. Lyra's cannons glowed with brilliant light, their energy resonating with the artifact. She took aim, her heart burning with defiance. "For humanity," she whispered, her voice fierce and unwavering. She fired. A beam of pure energy shot from her ship, a spear of light that pierced the darkness. It slammed into the dreadnought, the explosion tearing through its hull, ripping it apart from within. The flagship detonated, a shockwave of light spreading through the battlefield. The Veil Collective's fleet shattered, their forces scattering in fear. Their leader was destroyed, their power broken. The battle was over. Lyra watched as the enemy fled, their dark ships vanishing into the void. The resistance cheered, their voices echoing through the comms, a cry of victory and freedom. She smiled, her heart swelling with pride. Humanity's legacy was alive, its power reborn. They were forgotten once, erased from history, but no longer. She turned her ship towards the stars, the artifact still glowing with ancient light. It was guiding her, its purpose clear. This was just the beginning. The galaxy had forgotten humanity, but she would make them remember. She would reignite the spark that once shaped the stars. The Veil Collective tried to erase them, to bury their legacy. But they failed. Humanity was back, stronger than ever. Lyra gripped the controls, her eyes blazing with determination. She was the spark, the awakening of a forgotten race, and she would bring justice to those who try to erase them. The stars awaited. The galaxy would tremble. Humanity had returned, and they would never be forgotten again.